Hi, Zizaran here with day 3 of Build Week, and we were doing a Kinetic Blast Flame Wall character, later translated into Elemental Hit Flame Wall. So it's basically using Spellslinger, and it's a really fun build, really fast, and gives you some of that playstyle that the Kinetic Blast Instacker has without using 300 Exalted Orbs. That's the main goal of this character, was basically to give something really fast, and it happens to be an extremely good Valdo's Rest farmer because the projectiles go through the proximity shields that you have to deal with in Valdo's Rest. So really good build. I got to level 88 in 8 hours. So only played this for 8 hours, and yeah, great, really enjoyed it. So we can go in-game here and look a little bit about the character, and like before, we have the 3-hour to leveling or 4-hour to leveling playthrough that we're gonna have up on YouTube. If you want the longer full version, that's in my Twitch VODs. And, well, you know, this is the sum up and talking about the build. And I do have a POB like the other ones of, you know, just as we got to maps kind of thing. And we can examine the gear a little bit. This isn't that great because fire gem level is huge for this build. So if you're able to get something with like 40, 50 fire damage, plus 1 gem level, and maybe even higher fire damage over time multiplier, that would be even better. It seems to scale absurdly well with gem level, so definitely want that as much as possible. Here I just have like a life resist glove, Ellie weakness curse. I would prefer flammability, but I didn't have one. Just life ring with dex. I did have a primordial chain, so this is really good. You could also do an amulet with +2 gem level. I'm not actually sure which one is better. I had a primordial chain lying around, which basically gives you 75% buff effect and an additional golem, because you can run a lightning golem then. And obviously we're doing that for the character. This character would work on other ascendancies too, like Trickster, maybe Raider as well. And they'd be pretty cool, but you know, I get ailment immunity, I get the Aegis, and Mastermind of Discord is really cool. So I ascended Elementalist first, then Bastion, and then Mastermind last in Uberlab. I'm using any random explosion chest, and I for a long time played without it just to check it. It was pretty okay, but you know, Porcupines, the normal thing, is pretty scary. I am max block on this build with a life on block shield, so again, Porcupines aren't that scary, but you know, it's just really nice when I have explosion chests lying around. I put them in any build I can pretty much. The belt is just, you know, life. Just pretty simple boots. The helmet, I just had a imp crown lying around. I think there's a better base type that I don't remember the name of, but it has slightly more like armor and evasion and stuff like that. So you could use that. I influenced it. It hit Crusader, which is not what I wanted. I wanted Warlord, so I could get, you know, negative fire rest on enemies. That would be nice. Now, the really good thing about this is when I put my, you know, either KB or LE hit in the helmet, then they're automatically applying exposure. And then that becomes 35 total because of this. So it's just free exposure on everything I do, and it was very enjoyable and very strong. So let's talk a little bit about why I'm no longer Kinetic Blast and why I switched to LE Hit. So I didn't want to use the ZD ring at a high level because it didn't feel worth it, and I just realized I'm probably sure I can respec here and grab these 3 instead and just lose Shaper, which seems worth it. Not super optimized yet, but that's besides the point. I did want to do Elemental Equilibrium to get more damage, so what I'm currently doing is I have EE, and then I have here, this little fella. Elemental, hit, and well, so I cannot choose fire. And this is sort of misleading, because this makes you think that you can actually deal fire damage with it. It should say, cannot deal fire damage under any circumstance, because we actually did some testing about this, and even though it goes through the flame wall. We tested this with PvP, and even though it goes through the flame wall and you can see that it lights the projectiles on fire, they still don't deal fire damage. So this worked really well. With that, I get to do EE, and it's obviously already applying fire exposure regardless. So this is a really nice helmet for this build. So we get the EE, reducing the cold and lightning resist. Well, actually no, it's only reducing the fire resist. But we have EE for that, so that's really good. The single target was pretty great. I very quickly ran up to tier 11, tier 12 maps, and in tier 5 maps, the boss was just like dead. I would really like +1 fire on my shield. Hopefully I'll find out augment fire, and I really like endgame weapon would be +1 spell, +1 fire, and high fire damage short time multiplier would probably be the best. It gets like such a large amount from gem levels. So that's like the gear I'd be looking for. Other than that, I don't really need ailment immunity from my flask, which is nice. So I have Curse, I have Bleed, I have a Roomies. I have Freeze, but you know, you could use the large life flask, the Quartz instant life flask thing. I didn't really need my life flask much. I am completely max block with my Roomies up. So that was really good. I have Deflection Anointed. If you want to be zoomier on softcore, you could also anoint No Witnesses. This is really, really good for speed. And yeah, the character was really good. Like, leveling was a breeze. Early on, I leveled with the Magma Orb, which is called... They changed the name on that. Rolling Magma, or Rolling Fire Orb. You know what I mean. Rolling Magma, I'm pretty sure that's the name. I leveled with that early, and I used Holy Flame Totem. I used Flame Wall. And honestly, even leveling with just Flame Wall early on is a breeze. I would recommend getting a wand with +1 fire and a random shield with +1 fire. And if you're able to get like a duration tabula, that's like, oh my god, dude. I've never had this much damage while leveling. It was literally just like that. And everything was gone. I did use Malachai's Artifice with Orb of Storms all the way until maps. My other ring was a Pyre for damage. And Doder is tenure. Really, really good damage for this build because we're not using cast speed. And Flame Wall translates spell damage into fire damage or damage over time. So beautiful to use. Then Cold Rim and 7th Step. Probably one of the smoothest levelers as well. Like, all of these have been like really, really cool to level. And a breeze. This was probably the breeziest, I think. I think this was the breeziest. Incredible damage while leveling because I had so much plus gem levels. So really, really cool to see how much damage I had. I also used Wave of Conviction, Hex Touch with Flammability. So I got like the exposure there. And yeah, I would the way it played while leveling, I would throw down Orb of Storms, do a Wave of Conviction, and slap it once with Flame Wall. And yeah, it died. Just like, it was great. I'm going to be keeping this character for sure and using it as my Valdo's Rest Farmer because it's tanky enough to do like tier 12s, etc. Which I might just do low level maps and rush to the Harbinger and leave. But either way, I really, really enjoyed farming Ancient Orbs with this. So I think I got like 20-25 total because I used some. So something that's also fairly important, and you can see the skill tree, it's fairly straightforward. We'll be posting a POB, etc. A little bit messy. It's a little bit of a messy skill tree right now. It's not super optimized. I have 2 points here for my minions to stay HP, full HP all the time. I felt like they were staying low HP and then dying inconveniently when I didn't have it. So probably not worth the 2 points, but I have it. I have a Cremator and Exposure Therapy. Now remember, this is just for the fire damage. I would rather have 2... I think it's called Burning Bright or something. There's 2 at least that have fire damage over time multiplier. I would rather have that. Cremator doesn't really do anything. We're never igniting things in this build pretty much. It's just for the fire damage. Then I have here with Endurance Composure. This is just to get endurance charges because I want to stay alive. It's not fully optimized yet. Going forward, I was going to go down here to Marauder Life. If I was on softcore, I would have probably just grabbed less life nodes and gone over here to Trickster and grabbed like damage over time nodes, etc. There's some really, really good nodes here. I just didn't feel like I needed the damage. Now, do keep in mind, this isn't like an insane boss killer. It does bosses, map bosses and stuff really well, but I wouldn't be like trying to farm Maven and stuff with this unless you're going to do a big investment. Really enjoyable build. So I hope you guys are enjoying this series and me exploring a build every day. Tomorrow at 8 AM, which is Tuesday, we are going to do Toxic Rain, and I have still not decided what Ascendancy. Maybe Trickster, maybe Pathfinder, maybe... I don't know. It's a hard choice. Hard choice, but I also don't have a weapon. That's another hard choice. I do have a bow here. 2 bows, but none of them are linked. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see about that tomorrow, and I hope I'll see you there. 8 AM GMT on Tuesday. By the time you see this, it might have already happened. Who knows? Hope you guys are enjoying the video. Thanks so much for all the support. And again, sub if you like the video. But more importantly, try to die less than I do.